Awesome, awesome. Cool.
Cool.
All right. We started, right?
Well, we are super excited. We have a power couple with us today. We have Alee, a celebrity hairstylist, a worldwide hair show platform artist. He's been the education director for Asia Pacific. We have Peggy, who got her degree in business and management. Together, they co-own Paul Mitchell Schools in California and New York, as well as CAO Cosmetics, a professional makeup company, and a salon franchise called Simple. Well, welcome, Alee and Peggy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So I want to kind of dive in right away and talk about how CAO Cosmetics came about, what steps you took to, start a makeup company. I do know that, speaking to our future professionals before we dive into the salon world, that makeup is a huge passion right now. And I know there's a lot of people that would like to go down this journey that you guys went down. So kind of talk us through that process.
May I start first, my love?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have to let he start first because, this is absolutely something that, he created it when I was so busy running the school. He just want to add another project into it. But he's the man of vision. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you sure we want to do this? And but, he have his reasons, and he's always the fire and aim kind of guy. So yeah, take it away.
Well, that was a great question. First of all, Peggy and I, it's an honor for us to be part of this because I know what you guys doing it's absolutely a phenomenal because to take to the next level of the Salon leadership. In the sense of connect in a way where don't have to be on site, but this is how this is new world. We find way to actually adapt to the new world and connect and share, and we coach each other, we learn from each other, and we grow together. And I think that this is absolutely amazing that how it has come about. So it's an honor for us to be here. So. For us, like the makeup, I've been. It's crazy when we talk about how long I've been with the industry, especially with Paul Mitchell. 38 years already with one company.
Wow.
Talk about loyalty, right?
Yeah.
I love the company. I love the culture. I love the system. I love the people. I think growing in with the education, to be part of the educators. I think education also always in a passion of mine, and I guess that's what's linked to from traveling to teach and learn and teach globally, and then come to the school as a platform for us to be able to generate in a different way of learning for our generations to come. With hair, growing up with hair, I think this is the reason. Back in when we have 9/11s, this is 12 years ago when it took place, where, right after that, we remember a year after that, the market crash, and we have done so many different shows in Hollywood, and short movie, film, and work with the photographers and work with charities, and we always look, focus on the hair because that was the focus then. And then, we ran into a couple of future professional graduates, and we said, "Oh, how are you doing?" They always like, I went to makeup school after I went to your school, and I was asking them, what is the reason you actually do that? And they said, I have some experience that when I got interview, they was asking me, can you do both hair and makeup? And I said no, and then so I didn't get a gig, so I have to do that. So and then so. With the same time too, we have run to a lot of people we have worked with before with productions, and they always, before it's okay to send them to the group of team to do hair, and then a group of team do makeup from different manufacturer company. And it was okay then, but after that, because everybody on budget, and they're looking for, and they always like, hey, can you send a group of future professionals, they can do both hair and makeup, right? So that's the demand of the market. It wasn't something that, Peggy and I will, wake up in the morning. It's like, hey, I feel makeup today, so let's create makeup line. It wasn't that. I think it's just the preparation for us, because we love this industry and we care for our future professional. We want to prepare them to be in a win-win situation when they get out there, that they can do more, to get opportunity from, because they have an extra skill set. So that's how it started.
Amazing. I love this story so much. Always, every time I hear it, it just gives me the chills, because I love the fact that, because real leaders, now I'm saying real leaders like both of you, are visionaries, and they see more and more before, right? And that's something that you saw, and you're like, you know what, I need to be a part of the solution instead of just complaining, right, that we don't have this. Let's go ahead and be the solution. And so your company's incredible. 38 years with Paul Mitchell. Wow, that's incredible. And I know there's so many just like you that have been educators with Paul Mitchell for that amount of time. And I just actually interviewed Jean Bra Foster on my
God
podcast, and yeah, just love her story. And but I want to ask you, because why did you partner? Because I know a lot of salon owners come to me and they want to open a cosmetology school or their own barber school and that sort of thing. And they'll ask me this question, and I want to pose this out first to you, Alee, and then to Peggy. Why did you partner with Paul Mitchell? Why did you not just open an Alee and Peggy cosmetology school, right, through that process? So let's talk about that, and why you think it's important to partner with higher-minded, so to speak, people as well.
That's a good one. That's a good one. For us, as an artist, though, we always have that ego on our side, on the left side, on the right side, sometimes like, okay, should we work with somebody, or should we, have a capability to do our own things? The question of, do we have a capability to have our own business, our own school? Yes, we do have a capability. But I think, before we dive into, the vision, when we see something, we're very good with it. We always break it down. We always talk about it and see what's a pros and cons. We have the saying that, if you go fast, you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you go together. And I think collaboration is the future for us. So I think when you, this is the company that have grown me. I mean, it make me who I am today, right? I think looking back, where I think I grew up, where you don't forget where you come from, or what who was your mentor, and who get you here, and now how you giving back. And this is the part of the journey where a lot of people don't realize that, because they always look at the front mirror, right? They only want to see what they want to see, and then often they don't look in the back mirror and say, hey, you know what? I have accomplished so much because of these people, right? And the company have given me so much opportunity, and I couldn't have done and be here without it. And a part of that, because the belief in the culture and the system that already been create and sustain. So just carry on and do more. I guess the more we can add on values to the future professional to come, I think that's the best thing that we could have done. So but I know my wife, she's fast like this at the back end. She's just so brilliant with this. So yeah. I'll have her icing the cake on that.
I love that you said, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go with others. The African proverb. That's huge, Alee. And Peggy, how about you? Why did you partner with Paul Mitchell as well too? Did Alee tell you that you had to, or did you say no? I'm in.
Yes, I'm telling you. I can't even have other hair care line in the bathroom. It's like we have the whole collection everywhere. It's all Paul Mitchell. Absolutely, 20 years ago, when he sort of recruited me into it, he said it best. It's the philosophy that Paul Mitchell have. Right away, I was like, oh my gosh, is there such a company, that not afraid to talk about how we can grow the business. And absolutely, you know, because I'm totally not from the artistic side, I'm from the business side. So I absolutely, you know, all about being successful and, you know, have more revenue, generate more revenue. But this is the company that also have the balance. You know, it's about giving back, and it's about, you know, care about environmental people. And I just feel like it's just complete. I feel like this is the complete company. It took me only less than 24 hours to make the decision, you know, to be a part of it. You know, it's completely different because I came from, you know, 10% female industry. and now I'm in you know, 10% males, if there's any. So it's a big shift, but honestly, you know, of course, you know, his story, it's also helped me because you know, I definitely came from that kind of background as well, that, you know, just keep moving and switching and, you know, going to like the better. That is not always better, right? Because, you know, every company always have similar challenges. So when you actually always have to start over, you end up, it's actually, you know, at the back of the line. So yes, to me, I think, you know, all the ingredients is there. This is the, you know, have a successful recipe, and it's a no-brainer. Why not? And, you know, I mean, I'm thinking about that word quite a bit, as far as like, you know, to go fast, go alone, and, you know, to go far, go with the, you know, with the group. I think I has been changing like that thoughts a little bit, because it is really important to partner with the big company, or like, you know, the company like Paul Mitchell, because it's actually make us go faster. You know, a lot of time people want to own their own, right? And it's like, and we absolutely can, like, you know, with the resources, with how far, like, you know, with the knowledge and that we have. But, you know, I mean, the amount of resources that we can gain from Paul Mitchell, it's just incredible. And yeah, I don't even know where we are now if we don't, you know, if we didn't partner with them 20 years ago. So I would kind of second thought on the fast, because we're actually going fast and going, you know.
We'll have to change that quote. Let's change it, and we put our names underneath it. Amazing.
I love that. Alee, you mentioned something that we talk a lot about in one of our strategies. We talk about foundation, and foundation is really about systems. And you talked about that was one of the reasons why you partnered with Paul Mitchell, is because of the system. So kind of talk a little bit about how systems have really set you up for success in multiple businesses.
This is a very important elements in business, and this is something that Peggy and I always stimulate, and especially when we engage into new business. And it's so true, that because the system, they had to be written down. You know, the culture is the same thing. This thing that you believe, you know, for your team. It's not something, because when I grew up, it's different. When I grew up, it's everything in here, right? You know, later always like, oh, everything's in here, you know. I can close my eye and walk you through it, but then nobody be able to follow. And I think much more successful now, like we're much more leader now that realize that everything had to be written down, and it's very important. That not only create something, but extend it and training it, and then make sure that inspecting it. So all this for, you know, all these elements come into the full circle of how to making sure that everybody's singing the same song, right? So that's to me is very critical.
So good. I love that. And of what Sean was talking about with our 6-month course. So the first month is where we spend our time. But to be honest with you, some salon owners were spending an entire year because most of them have been in business for 10 plus years. And they're like, systems, what are you talking about? I don't have any written systems. And so really helping them through that process. And I love the fact that you started a salon franchise. So let's talk about that. I know it's called Simple. Where did that conspire from? I know the story, but I want our listeners to hear your story, of course. And also, what are you doing differently that you could kind of add value to other salon owners here on our call today?
You know, on the back end with the business, how it started, and I will have Peggy to share that because she's so brilliant with that, because she's been connecting with our partners and she's been conducting the business class for all the salon owners, several country in Europe, and over 150 salon. So that's some really key business elements that I would love for her to share. It's come. This is same thinking, and I guess this is a style for us to actually do business, because we always have the philosophy where let's collaboration. The collaboration is key. Collaborate with someone that add value to the industry or the business. So when we first started, where I remember when I met, because he's on, Mitch is also a school owner, commercial school owner in Slovenia. And, they already have, 6-7 different countries, got 150 salon, across Europe. And I remember the first time when I met Mitch and we talk about it, and it's like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Now they open a salon business like nobody can. It's crazy when we carry a conversation of like, okay, this week we opened 3 salons. Like what? Sometimes it takes one company to open 1 salon in 4 years, but for them, this is their business. That's what they do best. But I remember when he handed me a business card with all this name of the country, I was teasing him. I was like, what's missing over here in this business card? And I said, what? I go, USA, right? And he was laughing. I was like, I would just play, and it was like, when you do have a vision to actually expand it to USA, let's talk about it, right? And then 2 months later, he gave us a call and it's like, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about doing that, so let's do it. So, but the rest of the story, though, I would love for Peggy to actually share this, because it's
Very cool.
Yes. So, again, this is what we're talking about, and that's why sometimes it's really how we change the way we look at things, right? Sometimes people say like, oh, I don't want to be a part of like one company because, I'm missing out of like 10 million company out there. And, it's always about like how you're looking at things, right? Every businesses that we actually grow and build is, it's expansion from, Paul Mitchell. Like we're connecting the dots like everywhere. So, and it's actually give us more focus when you're not just like, I want to be a part of like 10 companies or 20 companies, but, we have more focus, and, and that's why our direction is always clear. And just like him, Alee was saying, so we connect through Paul Mitchell Network. And that's why, we have met somebody that very successful in Europe. And that's like, how we come about. They have different philosophy, different brands of salons. It's all like, very clear, different type. One is focused on, youngster. Another one is high end. Another one is, just more of like budget friendly. And, of course, and we found like Simple is something that, it makes sense. So when I look at it right away, I think that this is something that it will fit the culture and our consumer in the US. And that's why, we decided to bring this brand over. We tweak it a little bit, of course, because, American, we like things a little bit different than European. but the concept, it makes sense, and, and it's working. And that's when we feel like this could be something that we can expand much more in the US in the near future, and also the concept is also, we work with, the concept, it's very close in the sense of like, give the team opportunity to own the franchise, like, in the future. And that works for me, because I think at this time in our life, we are all about, we want to grow people. And we know that the end goal of, majority is to actually own their own business. And yes, I mean, like, we want to keep them, but we also, want them to be at the next level as well. So that's the whole reason, it come about when it comes to the Simple Salon.
If I may piggyback on that too, I think it is the Peggy and I always looking into how we can. Because I know team working very hard, and because they believe in us, and they put their passions and efforts and energy into the business to grow the business, and we wanted to be part, for them to be part of that. Longevity is the key thing too. If you have a key team member, you guys, really just focus on what else can you do for this individual or this group, because you know how much money it can increase a salary annually. It's almost predictable, right? But do something that unpredicted, so they can surprise and didn't realize how much they know you love them and grow them, but you don't realize that how much thought you put into it, and we do that, and we wanted to making sure that they be part of something big. And I know Simple Salon concept is really a concept that we be able to give the opportunity to our team. And I think what really cool though, because now most of the school out there is really stepping up with the with the stand-up homage. I think we raised it up very high, and I think it's so cool that beside the technical part of it, they're well trained that part. But I think we focus on the how to give back and learn how to become a better person, because I think this is always key, because sometimes people don't realize that it doesn't matter. You can be an amazing hairdresser, but your attitude is really bad. Nobody want to associate with you, right? So the key thing for us is making sure that they become a better person, right? But I think what really cool too with the part of art and business, so they learn a little bit of business and marketing. So for them, they get hyped up when they graduate, and all of them, they wanted to own their own space. So that's why now you see it's a big trend where different salon space that people, they can rent out studios and they can rent out. I think that's great that they have that platform, but I think we also see an opportunity for them to always the how do they run it, because they don't have the knowledge and experience when they just graduate from school. But when we get them hyped up like that, so it's our opportunity, it's our responsibility though, to give them certain opportunity to learn how to run it. So do it proper, for Simple Salon, you can be part of that Simple Salon. And when you believe in the system, we can train you. If you want to become a manager, we will train you to how to manage the team, and grow from there. And then when you're ready to become an owner, and we train you how to become an entrepreneur. So I think we want to create a safe place for them too, as well too. So they know that whether it takes one person 3 years or 5 years, even 7-10 years, but that if you continue to stay with one company, you'll be able to get to that level.
So good.
I love that. So talk a little bit about what that education program looks like if somebody was interested in having the opportunity to own their own Simple Salon, because I know that there's a salon that we're coaching that has multiple locations, and she's interested in going down the road of offering the opportunity to own a salon. So what does that look like in your company?
For me, I think the vision and the culture is very key for us. When we create a certain vision, they have to be clear of every business, small or big, the vision and the mission. It had to be very clear with that. And if you don't have one, then just start one. It's not too late, but you need to have that, because almost you're driving the car around. You have to know your destination. You can't just drive, right? You can't just dream about something. Things have to be anchored into an employee book list where, okay, this is our vision, this is our mission, right? And so that way they can adapt to that. They can follow it. When they believe into your visions, they will learn how to adapt it. And when they learn to adapt it, they will excel themselves and they can carry on that vision. And those are the key. Just handpick one person that believe in you, believe in your company visions, and then train that particular person to become a manager to manage the team. I think everyone do have an amazing managed skill, and there's so many different webinars and training that how to manage a team and people in the company. But I think the portion, the part that's really important is how do you carry on continuously from years after years, right? You're looking at the long term, like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, 50 years in your company, that you can enhance and build on top of what you believe in your visions, that your team can carry on. And that structure, it had to be very structured, structure of how you train them, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. So that's I feel is so important to do. I'm not sure, is there anything that Peggy wanted to add on that?
Yeah, so so like everything else, right? I think the reality check is really the key. When you actually decided to go and rent a chair or rent a suite, to me, I feel that if the result doesn't turn out well, we talk about closing down, obviously. But of course, like for us, if you're a part of the Simple Salon, to me, it's like Alee said, it's a safe place. So you grow from there, right? We have the journey, how you're going to actually get to one day own your own franchise or multiple, so with that, it's just the way for you to actually you have to put the work, you have to follow the system, and then that's just how you're growing each step into that level that of course that you're ready. And yes, like to us, for sure, if somehow you're not getting there, or you just get to like the manager, you're still in the safe place. You're still being able to do all the things that you love without having to go and learn everything right off the bat, meaning like business, because it's just a lot more into it when you actually decided to go alone and just rent a chair, because in your thinking was just, okay, I don't want to share this $100 to anybody, but just knowing that you end up actually gaining lesser than what you think. And and this is the business side of it, of course, and of course, if they're listening to Next Level, they will understand like what is the different those people that actually successful in having salon suite and all that, is they all pretty much have extensive clientele, and that's the winner. They can do that. But if you're out from the school, absolutely, you want to look into the brands that you can trust, you can grow, you can learn the system, and then you can go to the next level in a proper way. So so you can be successful.
And I love that you guys take them through the whole process instead of just jumping right in, because that's the challenge that Sean and I see. In fact, we're coaching a suite owner, she's rented a chair for 25 years. And she's like, Tina, I want to own my own salon now. I want it to be W-2 employee based, because I have been in this business for 25 years and I have nothing financially to show for it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, where were you 25 years ago? And so I want to kind of talk about that, because you said something really powerful, Alee. You said it's our responsibility to do it properly and to educate our team properly. And that's something that Sean and I are really working on, that facet, to not only train our students, our graduates, but also to train, current salon owners to really understand your business. And many of them don't understand their business. In fact, I'll say, hey, send me your profit and loss statement. They're like, what in the world is that? Like, I don't even know what that is. And so, well, let's just start there. It's okay. Cause I didn't know what one was either when I first started. I was really frustrated, right? So can you talk a little bit more what you mean about it's our responsibility to do it properly?
Many salon, because we do have friends that own salon, and some very successful and some don't. And I'll focus on one who don't first, so we can learn the lessons. They first very an amazing hairstylist, and they get booked up, and everybody wait for them. So it's great in the sense of being a stylist. And then when they get to some point, they save some money, and they say, okay, maybe I can open my own salon, right? So at that time, when they open a salon, what they do though, they own a salon, and then they will still cut hair in the salon. And here's the thing, I think it's a critical break point, because you have to choose one or the other, right? Yeah. You can't do both. With the salon business, you can't do both, because you have to make sure when you have a business, you want to make sure that it's your business. You really want to know your business so that you can grow your business in a sense where, how many chair that you want to produce, how much annually you want to produce per chair. So now you talk number right now, right?
Yeah.
And how you do get the team to believe and buy into your systems and work with you or work for you to grow to that number, right? And I think the part where it's so important is because we have to realize that one thing that, if you wanted to own you have to train yourself to how to manage people, and then, and then how to grow people. And that's the general idea. But I think the responsibility for us is think about it, people, it's different now. We're in the century of technology. So, if we still utilize the old school technique, it won't work anymore. We have to adapt. Even me, I'm not technology savvy, but I do know people that can actually coach me through the process. I don't have to be an expert, but I have to know. So I think the key, the important part is actually learn to adapt into the new world. That it's okay to train people online. It's okay they don't have to be on site face to face. I used to be that person. My wife taught me that to adapt to the new world, to actually be able to train people online. And it's the way to do it. And I think that responsibility for us, making sure that, you listen to your team, what their needs are. Everybody want to grow. Everyone to make more money, right? But how can you give more money if you don't produce more money? Right? And I think that's the part where a lot of salon owners don't realize that you keep giving, and then you don't have anything else to give, and then it's to the point where you're gonna you have to close down your business because you got nothing to give, and then they'll leave you. Loyalty only lasts when the team can see that the business is very healthy and successful running, because they can tell you, they can sense where you at, whether your energy or the level of success of the salon, in what level, they know because they in it. So be very transparent about your business and how much you want to grow, and have a good game plan and action plan for each team member that working with you so that you can grow.
I love that you talked about teams and you've talked about positive attitude. So something that comes across is, how do we continue to motivate our team, especially after the year that we came off of? A lot of people left the industry, and some of them are still, kind of teetering. So how are you guys, constantly making sure the team stays motivated? It sounds like you have an extremely energetic team and loyalty. You've said that word a lot. So it sounds like you have a lot of loyal people that are on your team. So how have you kept them, and how are you still continuing to motivate them?
I think for me, it start with you. Anything that you wanted to train the team or the team to adapt to what your vision is, it start with you first. It's always start with you first. I'm like a little kid in a candy store now, and almost 40 years. I think I get more excited now than even 40 years ago when I involved in the industry. And I have a reason for it, because it's so much in the industry that you can contribute. And I think that's the part where the attitude is important, not being a consumer, but being a contributors. And I think that's always the key thing for us to train our team to have that mindset. But I think something that Peggy shared with me yesterday on this topic into but what she focusing on to with the leadership, how to navigate and mitigate. So this is something that's so amazing that I want Peggy to actually jump in to share that.
I will share that at the closing.
You are?
Yeah, I'll share that at the closing.
She's ready.
I know, it's like spoiler alert over here.
Yeah, hang on, people. Hang on. You got 20 minutes to go.
I just saved that for last then. I think it's just a different topic that you can engage into that.
I think it's a beautiful question, and it's so true. Trust me, that's probably the question that we ask like on a daily basis, especially during the COVID, right? It's been the question that we ask, like how we going to motivate the team, how we going to motivate anybody around us, right? So definitely I have to say, like, the one thing that came to mind, it's always culture, right? We as much as we are trying so hard to making things work and solve like all these like challenges that it comes, it's always have to go back to that. Like you have to always like remind yourself that who we are and who we were before all this like craziness and madness, whatever you call, right? So no matter how hard it is, you have to go back to that, right? And when you do have that, everything is going to, come, I would say, like, I would like to use the word come back, it's all going to, it's slowly coming back to it. But the culture is the most important things. And that's kind of what we, we use it, and it was definitely put to the test and it works. And that's how we actually stay on it and stand on it, trying to enhance it. And we use that for everything that we do to motivate, our people. And that's when, we actually coming out, considering successfully.
So I think the most important thing that Peggy and I really focus to the core. I mean, this is always the question of it's what is your core belief, and it comes with health first, because you really, I think is to be able to lead the team and be so focused. You really making sure that your health is actually in 110%. Have a good rest, drink a lot of water, eat healthy, right? Just start exercise. Just start with that. We do structure ourselves to actually making sure between doing yoga and exercise, routine, like every single morning, whether it's 15 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. If you do have that, make it a very consistent a schedule for yourself. So that way, this is the type of exercise or thing that you do to create that level of energy. Because to run a business it's very challenging. I mean, like you can get hyped up in the morning, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, but then sometimes it drags you back until 9, 10 o'clock at night, and you can't be tired during that time, because that you are troubleshooters. The team come to you for solutions. They even have a solution, they still want to discuss with you to make a decision. So you want to be sharp with that decisions even at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And how do you balance that, right? How do you balance your energy to be able to give such a straight advice where you feel, or you don't feel, you think that that will solve the challenge, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's really
So
important.
good. I love that you said start with you first. And I always think about this, motivated people motivate people just because they see your motivation, right? And I know both of you are John Maxwell coaches. And I love that because you guys have invested in yourself. And, it's called the law of the lid. The higher you grow, the higher your people will grow, and they'll be more motivated, so to speak. The more motivated you are, the more your people. And I think something I don't think people realize, the statement of people don't quit companies, they quit people, they quit leaders, period. Right. And so when someone leaves us, Sean and I look at ourselves and say, oh boy, we lost a good one there. How are we going to avoid that again? Where do we need to grow? And you hit it hard. And it's so funny because I also not only coach salon owners, but I also coach nonprofit executive teams. And so I've been working with this team, and it was the first time this woman had heard this, but I said, you know what, your personal drives your professional life. And so if you're at a 6 or 7 in your personal life, that you're not going to be much further than that in your professional life. It pushes it. You just said that. And I love that you were talking about, it's really about that core beliefs. Like health was your number one core belief. And so it's funny because you actually take that right into your company as well too. And so can you talk about culture? Because I think we sometimes throw that out like it's confetti, culture. And a lot of people don't even know what we're talking about, because we'll talk to salon owners when we're coaching them in our course, and they'll be like, yeah, we have a great culture. And I'm like, okay, great. Let me see it. And they're like, what do you mean see it? And nothing's written down. Right. And so I'm like, well, if it's not written down, it's not a system. And so your culture has to be written down. And we've been privy to the Paul Mitchell School world and been, trained by the best of the best with our culture systems, we like to call it. So this is how we expect you to behave. So can you talk to salon owners and salon leaders right now? Peggy, I'm going to start with you. What's the best way to get started with that if maybe they haven't gotten it started?
Yes, absolutely. I think, culture, it's not, one way recipe, right? So I think it's really important for each salons to look at truly, the leader, who they are, right? Because you can actually look at all the good companies' culture. Of course, you can check out all this next level recordings and, to see how different people are doing. And you can pick pieces of that it actually makes sense to you. But the key is you have to be true to yourself, because you cannot adopt a certain culture that is not you, right? You can grow into a certain culture, but I think to actually get started, because we build companies that is of course part of the franchise, but we also build companies that is our own as well. So we asked ourselves this question also, like, what is our culture for this company? What we want, what we want our team to feel about this culture, right? What we want our consumer or customer, to perceive us. So these are the number one question. But like I said, it's so true. It's all start with the leader, right? So you're the one that navigating this, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. And like I said, how we usually creating the culture is, we look around, we have resources, so many resources that is available, and you don't have to actually mimic someone's culture. I mean, if if you found a company that it seemed like the whole culture makes sense to you, then, then that's good. But otherwise, pick what makes sense to you and put it together. But the key is you have to be able to communicate that culture very clearly. So, so your team and your customer, have a clear understanding of what you actually, presenting it to them. And that's when you're going to start growing from there. So
I love that you said communicate the culture. And because that's another month we spent on just communication. And Alee, you talked a little bit about, how often are you having meetings and, meetings before the meetings and what that looks like. And it's funny because we'll sit and talk to salon owners and we're like, how often do you meet with your team? And they're like, I don't know, not like once a year. I don't have time, to meet with my team. So how do you communicate? What's the best way, and give advice to salon owners right now of how to get started with that, communicating the culture, because we know that you have to keep repeating your systems because leaders are repeaters. That's all we are. We just continue to repeat the culture over and over and over. You never graduate from that, and don't ever say I told them so. Don't ever say that, right? So how do you guys, Alee, communicate that?
To pick before I move forward with the answer, to piggyback with Peggy too, I think it is a culture is pretty deep. It's something you really believe in, and to break it down to it could be giving back is part of your culture. Once a year your guy going to get your team out there to actually do a cut-a-thon and some local foundation charity that actually you believe in to give back, and then you do that. And sometimes the giving back is your thing, and every holiday like 9/11, you just donate all the haircut and go out there and go to local police department or fire department, or invite them to come to your salon and do a little hair party and celebrate and show appreciations. Culture could be something that you one of our company, basically we part of our culture is in the morning we share. Each team member will have assigned in rotations of share their award of the day, a positive word of the day, and why they pick that word, and they explain. We have an activity around that word, and then they explain why they come up with that activity, and get the team involved, participations on it could be so many things that but I think the key thing is making sure your team participate into your culture. It's very, very important. And that's it will grow from there. But pick what you believe, and it will expand. So but far as what was the question again?
How do you communicate your culture over and over? Like, we're going to be doing a salon retreat coming up in October, and so we'll spend a whole week really spending time on culture. We give away awards for each of our culture pieces that we have in our salon, but we have meetings every single month, and I'm the one who communicates the culture as the leader, the leadership coach, of all of our salons. And so that's something that I know that I got to continue to repeat it, and just see like, hey, what's not happening in our salons? What do I need to talk on, right? And so what does that look like for you? And give advice to salons how to get their communication started, so to speak, of communicating over and over and over. What does that look like?
I think salon meetings, the team meeting in the salons is very important. Let's say you do have a once a month meeting for your team. And you probably have 2 meetings out of the month. Maybe you do every week for your management team first, and then once a month for your team overall. But each time that you actually host the meeting, maybe perhaps you will spend 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes on your culture part of it, and pick different topic. And it could be because something that relate to the holiday, or something that relate to your visions, and the culture. Basically, you can break it down throughout the year. If you do once a month, 12 times a year, you can actually lay it out, and so that way you can see the direction of what it is that from January that you start with your portion of your activity of your culture related to even the end of the year when it comes to Christmas and New Year's. When you tie it in, would that actually relevant throughout the message that you send out to the team? So that's very important.
Love that. Go ahead, Sean.
All right. Sorry, I was muted there just for a second. So I want to make sure we have plenty of time for Peggy to tell her
Yes.
insight. But before we get to that, how can people find you and follow you on social media?
My first and last name, ALEECAO.
So I have my personal Instagram, but you can always connect with me through the school if it's like related to the school. So we have Paul Mitchell the school, Paul Mitchell School _ Pasadena, and Paul Mitchell the school NYC, one word. So that's the, that's how you guys can connect with us. Culture, I think to us, when it comes to, I love that Alee and I, we work as a team. Of course, the way he look at things is definitely, always from a different perspective. And I love that. And that's why we work so well together. It wasn't so well at the beginning.
It take a lot. It take a lot.
Somehow.
It take a lot to be married.
And I think this is something that is really important for salon owners, salon manager to look at that. We don't have to be great at everything, but we need to have the right partner, whoever that be, to actually filling that gap. Or, of course, or you actually learn and grow yourself, right? So those are the two options. But for me, when it comes to looking at the culture and how I actually, embed into our organization is aside from, have to make sure that, schedule it, right? Just like what Alee said, we have to schedule it because even though it's like culture sound like, it's something that everybody should know. But no, if you're not schedule it, it's never going to happen, right? So, but how I schedule it, usually, I always like to relate to things, things has to be relevant, right? So it's really like look at, the temperature of the business, where we at, the challenges and, all the different things. And that's when, I like to pick that pieces of the culture that is actually going to help enhance, all the situation or challenges or going to get the team to thrive, better during that time. And that's how we actually, communicate our culture that way. So I feel like it stick better than, sometimes we just like, okay, I have this list, this is a salon Bible right here, right? And, just to kind of go down the list, I mean, it's good, right? But it's more powerful when you actually can know that what teams is actually needed and, you actually communicate at the right time. So that's how, I usually plan, to communicate the culture in our organizations.
How we always have the golden rules. We grew up with that.
Golden rules, the good old golden rules.
You don't have to, for the salon owner out there, I mean, you don't have to go through that, the same terminology, the golden rule, but it just it's a part of that. You just come up with your new terminologies and you have a structure of what it is you believe and you break it down. It could be two things. It don't have to be 10 golden rules and you have to list out 10 of them, right? It could be 2, 3 or 4 of them that you really solid, believe into and the team buy into that and say, let's go get them. Just it's really sometimes I feel intimidated when you don't realize what it is, but when you start to network, that's why this is so brilliant, because we love what you guys doing, Tina and Sean, because the Salon Network is not only to join in to listen or to get inspired or learn some sort of new information, but I think it's a level of connections. Communication is always key, because if you don't know, it's okay to say, hey, I'm not really good at this. With somebody out there kind of just coach me through this process. And we do that to each other, Peggy and I, and we do that to our our group as well too, because we don't know everything. We don't. We're not good at everything. So the key thing is for us, just like what Peggy said so well earlier, to just really partner with the right person or people or the right team to be able to, and how do you know they are right team? Trust me, only a few things. If you feel right is right, right? You have to make sure that whoever it is carry conversation with your team, that you feel very comfortable to share the idea and bounce back and forth the idea, be able to have the comparative mindset, but at the same time, you set your boundary where you don't cross that, right? And those is very important.
Great advice. Oh, wow. Okay. Last piece of advice from you. So Peggy, let's start with you, and then anything, Alee, you want to add to close us out. So thank you guys so much for being on today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. Yes, and this is kind of something I was thinking about, like next level. I was like, I want to absolutely, leave something that, it's really powerful to me, and it will be something that add value to, to your audience. And I was thinking a lot about like during the pandemic time, there's always like two words that is always in my head. And that word is the navigating. And the second word is mitigating. And I was thinking of that, you know what, as much as like, I have this in my head, and of course it reflect to my actions. I was thinking like, you know what, this should not be something that I should think about only the pandemic time, right? This should be something that leaders should always have, even though like we don't have a challenge, because navigating is really the key. Our role is to lead, right? We have to lead with a clear vision, right? We have to know how to communicate. That we talk a lot about it today, and how that navigating looks like in your organization. But that's our key role. And we have to educate ourselves for us to be able to add value to people. We absolutely need to be able to be coach as well, right? We have to be coach. We have to grow, because as much as we grow people become smarter. You better need to learn and become even smarter. It doesn't mean that you're try to be smarter than your people. It's not. It's just you have to be able to be that resources to your people.
Right.
So that's navigating to me. Mitigating is, it's being a business owner, like what we talk about. It's like everything else, right? Why is navigate and mitigate? Is because, you save money, you make money and you have to save money, right? And same thing, when it comes to mitigation and navigation, it's like when you actually try to lead and you're trying to grow at the same time, you all also have to look at the rearview mirror, right? Just like when you're driving, that's the only way, for you to drive, and just being safe and get to your destination. You always have to know what you need to do to minimize your risk. You have to calm the temperature down if that's the time to do, or just that's something like to me that I want to leave with today. It's that as the leaders, navigating and mitigating should be something that is in your daily agenda in everything that you do.
So true. I love that, Peggy. Okay, Alee, close us out. Last piece of advice for salon leaders.
Stop hanging around with negative people.
That's right. Just stop it. Stop it.
If you in this group, you guys, you already in the circle of the so many brilliant minds that willing to share and learn. So I think the key thing for me is always about know your business. It really does. It's really, even when you have money and you say, okay, I have the fund and I wanted to create something for myself. Don't do it because you want to have something. Make sure it's connect to your heart. This is something that your team will know. Your team will know and sense your energy, the level of your passions and your dedications, and what level it is. They know. They don't tell you sometimes, but they know.
They know
how much you care and how much you want to grow them, right? But I think the part of you can't give what you don't have. knowing your business is key, and be very transparent to the team of how you want to take the team to the next level. I think the what is always easy, but the how is always the key elements in the business thinking. So, but we we hope that that we do have something to offer and add value to you guys today, and we are blessed to connect with Tina. You are just so your the way you think in the future of the business is so brilliant, because you have an amazing partner with Sons here, and then your program, like the next level of Salon leadership, is really absolutely critical, because we need more team, and we need more people involved in this type of circle, because this community should be global, not just national or local. I mean, this should be a global things, and I hope and I know that you will get there. You will get there very soon, because this is something that we all needed to be part of, and we appreciate you asking us to be part of this panel today. So
we love you both so much. Thank you. Everyone's going crazy that's live on here today over the two of you. So thank you for joining us live, and also for our recording. So thank you, Alee and Peggy.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
bye, you guys. Until next time. Ciao.